All right, guys, so John Stewart talked about Kilmar, Abrego, Garcia, and this country's just complete transformation into a North Korea-style, pathetic, weirdo dictatorship. And a lot of this is funny, but he also gets serious at points, so let's watch.
Welcome to the Dan Show. My name is John Stewart. We got us a show for you tonight. The great comedian Rami Youssef will be joining me a little bit later. And then afterwards, we will head to space on Blue Origin, where I will sing something delightful from the Katy Perry oeuvre. But first, quick update. As you know, we've been following the case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Undocumented migrant from El Salvador, married an American woman, has a kid, living the American dream. Until the Trump administration sent him to an El Salvadorian mega prison by, and I'm quoting the Justice Department here, if I may, is an administrative error. If only there was a convenient and timely way that the prisoner could be brought back to the United States that wouldn't really inconvenience either nation.
President Bukele at the moment flying from El Salvador to Washington, D.C.
What? Saints be praised! Bukele can just give Garcia a ride. You don't even have to give Garcia the middle seat. I'm sure Garcia would just grab the wing and Tom Cruise it over here if he had to. But sadly, Bukele arrived at the White House with just the Miami club promoter clothes on his back and a pocket full of excuses.
Can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
You know, can I honestly tell you, like, this isn't even the thing that's, like, they're enjoying this. Like, the two of them. Our president, their president, okay, I guess we'll just have to let him rot in a prison, even though he didn't deserve to be there. I don't, you guys don't care about this guy. I'm talking about these two, but somebody else cares about this person. And you just randomly, with no evidence that you'll show anybody, called him a terrorist. And one of the weirder parts about this is the only thing that seems to upset Trump about the entire situation is having to answer a perfectly reasonable question from Caitlin Collins about it.
You said that if the Supreme Court said someone needed to be returned, that you would abide by that. You said that on Air Force One just a few days ago. And they said that it must be facilitated.
Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that? Why do you go over and over? And that's why nobody watches you anymore. The
whole fucking point is that this guy's totally innocent. He's not a criminal. He's not a terrorist. You guys are lying about it. And by the way, this is where people started to speculate. Like, is he dead? Is he not alive anymore? Because they're acting really fucking weird around this. Initially, Trump tried to send Bukele a plane that included like 8 or 9 women. And Bukele said, no, we don't take women. And he sent the plane back. So clearly, on some level, he's willing to be like, no, we don't take this, right? So now it's like, oh, I can't send him back. Well, that's crazy. Well, you did. So how is this different? Well, the difference is he's actually seen CCOT, and he knows the horrors and the torture and the fact that it's probably a fucking death camp based on some evidence we already covered on this show. And so they don't want him out because then it exposes what's really going on there. Or maybe he's not alive, right? And by the way, it's very rare Jon Stewart gets serious, but he got serious there. He got serious there for a second because he knows, I don't know about you guys, I am struggling to find the humor in everything we're witnessing right now because it truly is the destruction of every positive thing about this country. And it's happening day in and day out.
Nag, you sound just like the Supreme Court. Nag. But fear not, America. For every time a lamestream media journalist gets shunned, an ass-kissy one gets its wings.
Do you have a question, please?
Mr. President, thank you so much. You scored another major investment win this morning when NVIDIA pledged to build its AI supercomputer, the first time ever, right here in the United States.
That's a question I like. That's true.
Yeah, that's not a question.
Also, how old is Trump? 79? Right? Or is 78, 79, something like that. He wants to be treated like a child. You know what I'm saying? This is how you treat a 4-year-old. It really is. This is, oh, that's him. They show you a drawing, and the drawing is fucking total shit. And you're like, oh, little Timmy, that's a great drawing. What is it, a cat? Oh, no, it's a treehouse. Oh, it's a great treehouse. This, he's in his fucking 70s. He's almost 80 years old. Oh, my God.
I guess it's your favorite kind of question, a compliment. But rest easy, Americans, if there's one thing we all know, it's that first they come for the undocumented migrants. And as long as nobody speaks out, they stop.
You mentioned that you're open to deporting individuals that aren't foreign aliens, but are criminals, to El Salvador. Does that include potentially U.S. citizens, fully naturalized immigrants?
If it's a homegrown criminal, I have no problem. I'm talking about really bad people. Really bad people.
He's going to do that to U.S. citizens. I think the hosts of The View are about to get administratively errored. I got to tell you, I did not think he would get this authoritarian this fast. I really didn't. I'm sorry. Who could have known? Maybe if somebody out there had yelled at me on Blue Sky about this, I would have known. But no one did, except every day, in all caps.
That's a little bit of a mea culpa from Jon Stewart. That's a little bit of a mea culpa. I guess he feels like he downplayed how bad it would get in the drug. I personally was trying to sound the alarm like a motherfucker, as you all know. But at the same time, as hair on fire I was about it, I wasn't hair on fire enough, dog. I was not hair on fire enough. This is way worse than anybody thought the worst case scenario would ever be. Right? I mean, that's as close. That's a mea culpa right there from Jon Stewart. He's like, hey, dog, my bad. And it really goes to show, I mean, I've been saying this a lot now in the second Trump term, but like the both sidesism is now dead. False equivalence is now dead. Oh, the sides are the same. That is so fucking immensely dead and gone. Like, it's just, if this doesn't prove it to you, you're hopeless. Like, you are just, they're somehow exactly the same, even though they're very, very different. It's like, can we move on, please? Can we move on? It's not fucking 2018 anymore. Like, we can't do this, especially in the midst of a literal robber baron coup and a fascist purge. Like, to make that argument is just you look silly.
Question is, how authoritarian is we? Now, I don't accept your pity applause. Now, luckily for us, the world is full of authoritarian leaders that we can measure Trump against. Your Putins, your Xis, your Anna Wintours. So if Trump can put up a monster authoritarian score, you know what? Let's do this Dave Portnoy style. One clip. Everybody knows the rules. By the way, the greatest pizza reviews in the history of pizza. If you guys like pizza, for me, it's like watching porn. We already know Trump's done a lot of the standard fare. He's attacked the free press, pulled random people off the streets, made law firms and universities bend the knee, announced Department of Justice investigations into an individual whose sole crime was suggesting that the 2020 election had been safe and well administered. You know, the bad people. But authoritarianism isn't just policies. It's an aesthetic. The opulence of medieval kings, the excesses of Middle Eastern autocrats. It's a Pinterest vibe that speaks to the power of one's position, the riches that are the privilege of the office. Does Trump measure up? Does he have the lack of available wall space?
You have the mantle, and you have the cherubs from, is that from Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah, that's actually, they're gold, all gold, look. And you know, it's angels.
They're angels. They visited me in the night and asked me to change my ways. So I held them down and dipped them in gold. I drowned them in gold, liquid gold. Have you ever heard an angel scream? It is erotic. By the way, if any of you are wondering if the cherubs that are now in the Oval Office are real gold, and I know many of you are wondering that, it is real gold. And there's a very good reason for that.
Throughout the years, people have tried to come up with a gold paint that would look like gold, and they've never been able to do it.
Can't do it.
You've never been able, look at that look. You've never been able to match gold with gold paint. That's why it's gold.
That dude is so blue collar. Always down at the factory with the boys. Why can't they make a gold paint that looks like gold? It's not illegal. I don't mind them canceling pediatric cancer research, but I hope by the end of the term we can come up with a good gold paint substitute because... But you know, rooms filled with real gold cherubs are nothing if those rooms aren't also filled with the echoes of the most embarrassingly sycophantic hosannas. One clip, everybody knows the rules.
Thank you for your leadership and thank you for everything you're doing.
I want to thank you for standing up to the Chinese Communist Party.
I want to thank you as well for the shipbuilding.
Your vision is a turning point and an inflection point in American history.
Your leadership at the border, absolutely remarkable.
What you're doing now, I think, is a great service to our country, but ultimately to the world.
You were overwhelmingly elected by the biggest majority.
You know what? I swear to God. Guys, what does she know? She's the Attorney General. She doesn't have the When I watch those cabinet meetings, I actually think, are they making fun of him? It's so over the top. Mr. President, oh, thank you so much. Your dick is so big. Your dick is so big, we can barely lift it because it's covered in real gold, not the paint, real gold. But you know, any run-of-the-mill authoritarian can get the praises from those that fear him, the OGs. The real autocrats extract something much, much weirder and humiliating: the forced, uncomfortable laughter.
열정이 있어. 공화국 창건 75전을 앞두고 우리 국가의 위상을 다시금 과시할 수 있게 됐다고.
He had a hat on, and then he puts another hat on, the same hat, but still. That's on the North Korean website, Funny or You Die. And as America's dear leader, Donald Trump also has a tight five.
We're pulling all that out and putting the money toward the infrastructure, not the social movement from the last administration.
Good steel, right, as opposed to green paper mache. Yeah, thanks. Great job. That made no sense, right? Right, yeah. Nothing, right? Did that make any sense to you? Did it make any sense to me? Hey, you better laugh though, right? Oh, put a hat on, put a hat on. It's just so weird. But the key to the authoritarian regime is the suspension of the normal processes by which you understand the world. The manner by which data and your experiences paint a cohesive, grounded picture of reality. The calling card of an authoritarian regime is that you must suspend that reality, that rationality, and then you test people by pushing the limits of that absurdity.
The White House released the results of President Trump's physical exam. His doctors say President Trump exhibits excellent physical health.
The report says he's 6'3", 224 pounds.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
No. I'm gonna say no to either of those numbers.
I'm 6 feet, 200 pounds, and the idea that he's only 25 pounds heavier than me. I mean, Jesus Christ. They're okay.
I don't want to be that guy, but he has a front butt. I mean, we all get there. It's fine. You can have it. But he is forged by Hephaestus. No. And by the way, that medical exam did not only confirm that Trump is physically perfect, his brain is also totally jacked.
I took a cognitive test, and I don't know what to tell you other than I got every answer right.
Can you tell us about the cognitive test? Is that even person camera TV?
It's I think it's a pretty well-known test. Whatever it is, I got it all right.
I think we all know what cognitive test we're talking about. But I would like to know, do you know what cognitive test? It's just bullshitting. I took a cognitive test about my memory. What was it? It's a test. Trump is such a medical marvel. What's the secret to his good health and youthful appearance?
Sense of humor decreases stress that he has. Everyone that knows the president knows how funny he is. That decreases stress.
Does it? Sense of humor decreases stress. Keeps you young looking. Is that what I hear you saying? May I, if I may, just for schnicks, offer the counter argument? Do I look less stressed? No, don't look, I'm hideous. But you know what? He's got a good sense of humor and he's in pretty good shape. May work for your run-of-the-mill authoritarians, your Lukashenkos, your Maduros. Surely Trump is above that C tier.
Donald Trump is a genius.
Very different in the best possible way.
The president has an athlete's mindset.
Accessible, freewheeling, refreshing.
It is like Christmas every day with President Trump.
He's like that Marvel superhero.
A mythic figure, almost like the various Scandinavian Beowulfs.
I'm obviously not a scholar in Viking lore. I don't remember there being Beowulfs. One Beowulf. Wouldn't it also then be Beowulfs? But those are still just reaching for superlatives. Is there anyone else who wants to place him not on Mount Rushmore, but maybe Mount Sinai?
Can Trump be the biblical Moses?
No.
Oh, my God.
I'm not the most observant Jew. I mean, this weekend I think I celebrated Purim. But isn't Moses the biblical Moses? And by the way, if you were Moses, I do think there were some thou shalt nots that you might want to take a look at. By the way, Moses, 6'4", 218, 48-inch article. But you know what? Even a superhero or a Viking or a mythic figure or a biblical prophet pales in comparison to the genius that we are witnessing.
Zelensky's playing checkers and Trump is playing chess.
Trump's 3D chess move.
He's actually playing 4D chess.
President Trump's 5D chess.
That's not a dimension.
I can't, man.
The length, width, depth. 4 is time. There's no fucking 5. There's no 5. He is a god who has created a whole other dimension through which he plays board games. Let me even see. How do you play 5-dimensional Trump chess? Let me see how we do this. So here's how he would probably do it. We lose them for DEI. Okay. Checkmate. I guess that's it. I guess that is 5D. You know, for an authoritarian that awesome, I guess words are not enough. Tributes to a great leader must show, not tell.
A new proposal by House Republicans to rename Washington Dulles International Airport after Donald Trump.
Brendan Carr, the FCC chairman, was seen wearing a gold pin of Trump's face.
A congresswoman introduced a bill to add President Trump to Mount Rushmore.
That would make President Trump's birthday a national holiday.
Put President Trump's likeness on the $100 bill, a brand new $250 bill featuring Donald Trump's face.
He's going to be on all our money and all our fucking mountains. So Trump's got it all. Authoritarian-wise, the looks, the attitude, the relentless dissent crushing, all the ingredients to be a top-tier authoritarian. All he needs now is to bring it home with his ruthless competence.
Chaos and confusion from Wall Street.
The market's lost more than $6.5 trillion.
They've wiped out $11 trillion.
Turning now to yet another plane crash.
The worst measles outbreak of this century.
100,000 federal workers have been fired.
The Trump administration unfiring some of the federal workers.
President Trump's tariff train escalates the global trade war.
The president hits pause on his global trade war.
The president made it clear yesterday this is not a negotiation. Donald Trump says it is a negotiation.
The president exempted smartphones, computers, and other devices from his new reciprocal tariffs.
The president later posting there was no tariff exception announced on Friday.
So close. So frustrating to see someone just on the precipice of illiberal leadership, but he just can't put it all together. Is Trump Putin or Xi? Not yet. But there's no question that he's a young upstart. There's a lot of potential. But if he can't bump his numbers in the getting shit done category, he's going to hit the ceiling pretty quick. You know what? Let me Donald, let me have a word. President Trump, Generalissimo. Oh, great Moses. I don't know what your advisors have told you about the authoritarian bargain, but the basic deal is this. The American people look the other way while you disappear undesirables, knuckle under the elites, ban all 7 trans athletes from our nation's beloved NCAA fencing tournaments. You know, all the people that are holding us back. And then you, in turn, make shit work. You want to ignore the Supreme Court and all the other courts and take away people's licenses to broadcast? Fine. But when the planes go up, you gotta go down. I'm not on fire. You don't even have to have them be on time. You can take over Greenland, demonize Canada, dominate the golfing pro circuit, but in return, our children should be somewhat safe from most Victorian-era diseases. We love our children. We love them. We love our children, especially the Rizzler. You want to destroy NPR and PBS, the Voice of America, sell the naming rights of the Washington Monument to Hims.com, use the R word, the P word, the C word, make up your own slurs, have the United States Naval Academy remove Maya Angelou from its bookshelves, but for some reason keep Mein Kampf, which is a real f***ing thing that they did, we'll be fine. We weren't that crazy about this system of government in the first place. But you keep f***ing this up, and some of these lawyers and universities and corporate leaders are going to start to think about suggesting, respectfully, to each other in a very tightly controlled text chat that someone should reach out to someone who knows someone in your administration to express mild dissatisfaction. Because injustice anywhere is not something we mostly think about. And remember, you don't have that much time to get it right. Because it's not like your vice authoritarian Butterfingers is inspiring any confidence.
Look at the size of that trophy next to J.D. Vance.
I know. Those are some big young gentlemen and a big trophy as well.
Big dudes, yeah. Oh, and it looks like a trophy.
Oh, my God.
That's unfortunate.
Okay.
So he actually made a really important point there that people need to remember. That it is true, historically, if somebody's going to be a dictator, a tyrant, and, like, take over full authoritarian control, a lot of people will accept that. They will accept that. People are just trying to, get by in their own life and pay the bills and have a happy family and, you know, have some leisure time. Like, many authoritarian regimes exist at all times. It's not even like, hey, in modern day, we've grown out of them and everybody's a democracy. No, it's not true. There's a lot of authoritarian regimes, and people will generally accept it. But the trade-off that's made is, okay, you get to do your tight social controls and get rid of dissent and censor the media and enforce support for your regime and endless praise for your regime. But the trade-off is, as the old saying goes, the train's got to run on time, which is really like a stand-in for you have to be competent when it comes to the economic world, right? So it's not just the train's running on time. It's like, hey, can people eat? Do people have decent jobs? Do they get some paid time off? Do they feel like things are efficient? And usually with authoritarians, they're ruthless, but they're also efficient. And the problem Trump is running into is he's a fucking idiot. And so with this trade war shit, for example, he's going to raise prices for consumer goods for like the bottom 95 to 99% of Americans. There's going to be mass layoffs happening. We've already had over 100,000, anywhere from 100,000 to 250,000 public sector workers lose their job. Government workers lost their jobs. They're destroying Social Security. They're cutting Medicaid. So you're destroying the entire social safety net. You're doing austerity. At the same time, the private market is collapsing and we're about to have a recession or depression. You're destroying the flight safety officials and planes are crashing seemingly every other day. So there's nothing competent. There's nothing efficient. There's nothing economically appealing. A competent dictator might crack down in the social realm and demand support, but they would otherwise like, hey, everybody gets a raise, or we'll do healthcare for everybody. They have ways of ameliorating the downside of being authoritarian. And Trump doesn't have that. He's too stupid. He's too dumb. And so that's why it's all coming down so quickly. That's why the numbers have turned on him colossally. He was +1 with independents in January. Now he's -29 with independents. We've never seen any collapse like that. And this is just the beginning. We haven't even gotten the price shocks yet from the trade war. And so the point he's making is actually super important. Like, people would have, and it's not good about human nature. It's not good. But people would have traded away some freedoms for economic stability and security. But instead, you're taking away everybody's freedoms, destroying the Constitution, and giving us no economic stability, no security. In fact, you're destroying that shit too. And so I think it's destined to fail. I think it's destined to fail. But yet again, the GOAT is at it. We just covered a poll the other day. Jon Stewart, this was the first poll that included him in the 2028 speculation, 3%. 3% is his first poll. If he were to make a run at it, man, he'd make some noise. That's for Stephen A. Smith, who's been making a lot of noise about running. Jon Stewart never said anything about I'm going to run for president. Never. Stephen A. Smith's been going everywhere telling everybody, I might do it. I might run for president. He was at 1%. So Jon Stewart, who said nothing about it, 3. Stephen A., who talks about it like every other day, 1%. So he's our boy. We can get him in there, but I don't know if I'll hold my breath on that. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.